Hi all, this is section 1.2, Elasticity. Here, we'll be going through the basics of elasticities before we go a bit deeper in class. There are four types of elasticities that we'll be examining in this course. Price elasticity of demand, cross-price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and price elasticity of supply. Now that you've heard the word elasticity this many times without knowing what it is, I guess we should get into it. Price elasticity of demand, or PED, is a measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. We already know the law of demand, that if price increases, quantity demanded decreases. What PED tells us is how much quantity demanded will change. To measure the PED, we do some simple maths. Percentage change in QD divided by the percentage change in price. Let's put your skills to the test. Work out the PED on this demand curve when price decreases by 20% and quantity demanded increases by 5%. Pause now and have a go. Okay, 5 over negative 20 is negative 0.25. You'll notice that I've put the negative in brackets because PED will always have a negative value due to the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Therefore, we can ignore the sign as it really has no significance. Now this value of 0.25 represents inelastic demand. The change in QD is less than proportionally responsive to the change in price. Inelastic demand means it's insensitive to price. A value of less than 1 means demand is inelastic, as generally does the steep slope of the demand curve. Another one to support your learning. Pause and work out the PED here when price increases by 10%. Okay, negative 40 divided by 10 is negative 4. Demand is elastic, more than proportionally responsive to the change in price. When PED is greater than 1, demand is elastic and is generally represented by a flatter demand curve. Okay, there are a number of determinants of PED. What makes it inelastic? What makes it elastic? We'll go through these one by one. Number and closest of substitutes. How easy is it to switch consumption to a substitute product? Let's look through some examples. Let's say you're interested in buying a Hyundai i30. If the price goes up, do you have options? Yes. There are a number of close substitutes, such as the Ford Focus or Toyota Corolla. Consumption can easily be switched, meaning that demand may be relatively responsive or elastic to the price hike. What about petrol? If petrol prices go up, what do you do? Sure, you could buy an electric car or get an LPG conversion, but these are expensive options. So while electricity and LPG are substitutes, they aren't really close substitutes. Demand for petrol would be more inelastic. Beef, it's a red meat, a source of protein, so really you could just eat one of these guys instead. Demand would be relatively elastic. There's a close substitute. Necessity. The more necessary a good is, the more inelastic demand is. Quantity demanded won't fall much with an increase in price. Luxuries, which aren't necessary, e.g. jewelry, often have elastic demand. Now, I find this chart useful. Food is necessary for life, up the top here. You'll pay what it takes to get food. Now, if we go down the list, we'll see food very inelastic. We go down the list, meat. Many consider meat necessary, but there are substitutes for it, e.g. vegetables. As we go further down, the different types of meat become closer substitutes for each other. And then again, different types of chicken are closer substitutes than the different types of meat. And then different types of chicken nuggets are almost perfect substitutes. So demand for them is very elastic. An increase in price, you'll go to the other brand of nuggets. Demand will be very responsive to a change in price. Addiction. Addiction is the extreme of necessity. It can take a large increase in price to decrease the quantity demanded significantly. Think of things like cigarettes. price keeps going up throughout the years, but smokers keep on buying cigarettes. In-app purchases, pay-to-win games, and then of course illicit drugs like crack, where people are willing to steal or prostitute themselves just to pay the price. Price goes up, they'll find a way to keep on paying it. Passage of time. Now, an example helps here. Many people in sub-zero climates heat their homes with oil. When oil prices skyrocketed in the 1970s, demand was highly inelastic, as people had no other option but to pay the price for heating oil. Almost the same quantity was bought despite the dramatic price rise. Over time, however, other options became viable, such as installing more insulation, double-glazed windows, or wood fires. These require more upfront capital, so are therefore not close substitutes, but the longer the time period considered, the closer substitutes they become. Proportion of income. Inexpensive goods that take up a small portion of our income are often bought without considering the price, making them more inelastic. Imagine a pencil that costs 50 cents. If the price suddenly goes up to 55 cents, a 10% increase, are we really going to buy fewer pencils? Same if price goes down to 45 cents. Are we going to buy significantly more? Demand is not very responsive to a change in price here. It's so insignificant that often we wouldn't even notice the price change. Another example of this would be chewing gum. Goods that take up a large proportion of our income, however, are different. A 10% change in the price of a car worth $20,000 is significant. If you do the maths, it's 10% change is $2,000, so it would greatly affect our buying decisions. We would be more responsive to a change in price. Thus, we would consider demand for a product that takes up a large proportion of income to be more elastic. Branding and advertising. Knowing what we do about PED, firms will, through branding and advertising, make it seem as if there are no close substitutes for a product. Consider this example of Johnson's selling sorbeline cream. Sorbeline cream is a specific combination of ingredients. So this sorbeline lotion on the left and this baby sorbeline cream on the right are the exact same thing, the exact same composition if you read their ingredients list, and Johnson's will confirm it themselves as well. But there's different prices for them. The sorbeline lotion on the left is 66 cents per 100 mils, whereas the baby sorbeline cream is 99 cents. So what they've done, just by inserting the word baby on the bottle, they're making implication to parents that regular sorbeline cream is not a close substitute for baby sorbeline cream, when it's in fact actually the exact same thing. So they're using this to differentiate their product and gain greater profits from it. Okay, so what you've seen here today are the basics of PED. In class, we're going to cement our knowledge by going through examples, and we'll look at the implications of PED values. Okay, bye.